So there's this question: how did the Buddha have the confidence to realize the truth? Of course, this can be answered in many different levels. But I think for now, the historical Buddha, Shakyamuni Buddha, had the confidence to realize the truth because he did all the analysis, hearing, contemplation, and meditation. After many years of contemplation and hearing and analysis, he came to a conclusion that the anxiety, the dukkha, the pain that we have comes from our emotion. Period. I mean, there's no dispute, he found. That is the truth. And yet, the emotions that we have, as stubborn as it can appear, all the negative emotions that we have are removable. They depend on cause and conditions. They are not our innate nature. And then there's a question of how could he leave his family without feeling responsibility? That's kind of an interesting question. I say it's interesting because I guess, one can always look at things in a very different point of view. Because from his point of view, he's taking the utmost responsibility. It's like, if we are all to be subject of death and, anxiety and decay and illusion, then what's the point? So he wants to overcome that. He wants to find a way out of that. And it's a big sacrifice for him. He was a prince. He was having a good time. He had to forsake a lot of things, even his most beloved son, Rahula. So for him, it was really a big responsibility. Then there's the question of whether I can explain Buddha's theory of nirvana in simple words. Now that's difficult, of course, but I will try. And in a way, it should be. We should be able to express in a simple words, because it's actually really, really simple. It's really to overcome all conditions. Right now, we are so bound and conditioned and dependent, and we are just so, dictated by just all kinds of values and distinctions, and nirvana is really to overcome all of that, to really shrug off, peel off all these skins of distinctions and stuff like this. So actually it is as simple as that. The next question is, what is emptiness? Yet again, a very big question. People study 10-20 years the philosophy of emptiness. So for me to articulate in a few minutes is going to be difficult. But for now, definitely is not something like this. Empty. You understand? We are not talking about that kind of emptiness. Rather, we are talking about something like this. You understand? See the fork? But, you know, can you see the fork? So, can you see? How come? So it's kind of a trick. What the Buddhists think is everything is a trick. When cause and conditions are gathered, it just appears to be like that. In reality, the reality is not how it appears. So I'm in a very noisy place in India, so I'm sorry if some of this noise are bothering you, but I don't think it's going to stop. There's this question about all that we are is the result of what we have thought. What does this sentence mean? Yes, this is one of the fundamental Buddhist teachings. Mind is the most powerful. What you think, what do you imagine, what do you assume, what do you decide, what do you conclude, what your motivation, your intention is the almighty sponsor. Yeah, and of course, many of our thoughts, just like sparks, they come and they go, but the others, they can create fire. Okay, so next question. I want to know more about the correct view, right view from the Eightfold Path. How do I know which action is right, especially nowadays? Yet again, a big question. And within the short time, not possible to explain everything. But briefly, imagine this. You are driving, right? You have a car and you are driving. You need to reach somewhere. Now, you have to know that you can drive carefully. And the car should be serviced. I don't know, car should be in good condition. You should drive carefully. You should look in the front, rear window. I don't know, all of that. You need to do that. You cannot simply think that, oh well, you know, it's under my control. Everything's under my control, which is not true. Even if you drive carefully, someone else may not drive carefully, right? So we are so dependent on cause and conditions. How would one explain karma to people who have intense suffering, like people who were raped or abused, people who were born with defects, or people who lost their children? So I think the question is, how do we explain to somebody? That's a little tricky, because it depends on what kind of people we are trying to explain, right? Many times people don't want to hear any explanation. Many times you just offer your care and concern and love and kindness. I think that's about all you could do. If the person is willing to really open their heart and head, and then you can explain the whole philosophy of karma, which is really vast. It's not that easy. Basically, nothing comes out of blue. Nothing comes because somebody up there, dictates. It's all cause and condition. There's a question about somebody got dumped by girlfriend, and still the thoughts of her linger. Can Buddha's teaching help? Help what? Help get her back? I don't think Buddhism is for, getting a relationship or finishing a relationship. I don't think Buddhism is a bit like science. It's a bit like I don't think but the basic Buddhist philosophy and basic Buddhist practice can boost your confidence and your way of looking at the world, and that could definitely help to get back your relationship, or to not get back your relationship, or how to handle life in general. Okay, then the question is it possible to live without expectations in this materialistic world? Definitely. This is actually one of the quintessential thing about, being in touch with the base, touching the earth. I think the expectation grows when we float from the base, when we go astray, when we go further from the base. Then all this unnecessary, stupid expectation comes. And then there's also question of taking refuge. Yeah, that's actually, of course, there's a you can have a proper ceremony of taking refuge, but that's not the quintessential. That's not the most crucial. Taking refuge is really, basically, fundamentally having some sort of a conviction towards the teachings of the Buddha, and therefore the teacher, the Buddha himself. So as long as you have that, the actual foundation of the refuge is already laid, okay? But you can have ceremony of, like bowing and all that if you want. Then, can one be a Buddhist and also practice other religion? Technically, no, because each religion has its own view and its own sort of direction. I know there are a lot of people who think it's all religions are same, like one essence, but that's not true. And it should not be, is it better that each religion has their own, nuances and differences? I don't know why people are all trying so hard to make all religion in one. That's just not doable, not possible, and it's actually stupid even if you can do it. Because why would you try to make sandwich, pizza, spaghetti, and I don't know, Chinese dumplings all in one? Different food for different people. Yeah, so being Buddhist and practicing other religion, not really possible. Then there's a question of how can I practice non-attachment? Again, I would come back to, touching the base, touching the earth. Why do we have attachment? Because we float, we go astray, we fly away from the base, and then we get insecure and all of that, and then attachment, anger, all kinds of things, right? So come back. Lastly, there's a question of how do we maintain perseverance in Buddhist practice. Now, I think when people will use the word perseverance, people think in terms of doing it long time and many time and involving sacrifice and all of that. That's a big misunderstanding. I think key to the perseverance is consistency. So don't practice, I mean, your practice should never be bound by time or a space, you know, or you know what I mean, like practice only in the temple, practice only in the morning, practice only in a holy place. None of that. Practice anywhere, anytime, however you can, even as you walk, as you dance, as you listen to music, as you are cooking. But do it consistently. And when I say consistent, for the beginners, at least, you know, a few minutes a day. That is the key to the perseverance.